BJP working president JP Nadda on Wednesday told the Rajya Sabha that there was no political angle in the withdrawal of the Special Protection Group cover to the Gandhis. Speaking in the Rajya Sabha amid Congress protests in Parliament against the government's move, Nadda said that the decision on the security cover was taken by the Home Ministry and not by politicians. Earlier, defending the government's decision to downgrade the security cover, senior BJP MP Subramanian Swamy said that the decision has been taken by the Home Ministry and moreover, the threat perception to the Gandhis has disappeared with the end of the LTTE in Sri Lanka. The Congress on Wednesday demanded in the Rajya Sabha restoration of the SPG cover to the Gandhi family and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh by rising above partisan politics. The central government earlier this month replaced the Special Protection Group security cover given to Sonia Gandhi, her son Rahul Gandhi, daughter Priyanka Gandhi and former Prime Minister Singh with the Z plus security of the Central Reserve Police Force. On this edition of The Big Picture, we will analyze the primary objective of the SPG and how the assessment is made either to provide or take away SPG cover. Joining me on the program today are Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP, Uttar Pradesh, Sanjay Singh, political editor of the First Post, and Rana Banerjee, former Special Secretary, Cabinet Secretariat. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. Mr. Banerjee, I'd like to begin the program with you. What is the primary objective as far as the SPG is concerned, if we go by the SPG Act?
Well, the SPG was set up in 1985, actually before the Act came in force, just after the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. And thereafter there was the Birbal Nath Committee report, which led to the Act being passed in 1988. It was meant primarily for the protection of the Prime Minister, and therefore it was a very specialized function. In 1991, after the unfortunate assassination of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, the Act was amended to bring in also former Prime Ministers and relatives who had a high threat perception. Thereafter, of course, the government of the day has the capacity or the right to assess what is the threat assessment of the day for any particular protectee. And in my view, because it is specifically intended for the protection of the Prime Minister, as a very specialized function, the group should remain confined to that function and activity.
So it's a prerogative of the government at the end of the day to decide whether it wants to extend this SPG cover to someone else or not.
Yes, and I would think that it is an assessment which is based on, at any time, whatever the threat perception or intelligence inputs are regarding threat to any particular persona.
Okay, all right. So talking about assessment, Dr. Singh, I'd like to bring you into the picture now. How is the assessment made either to provide SPG security cover to a person or to take it away?
Mr. Frank Pereira, let me place before you the records on which a threat perception is understood and is placed on record. All the threats that the IB has been able to record, the local intelligence report gives its own inputs, the police commissioner of Delhi and all other police forces give their own inputs. They are consolidated, and under the Home Secretary, Union Home Secretary, this assessment is made. There is also another legal provision, Gayur Hassan versus Union of India, the directives given by the Supreme Court. Under these, a speaking order has to be given as to what are the cogent and logical reasons why a security is given, why a security is upgraded, or why a security level is scaled down. It has to be cogent and logical, on almost like a mathematical algorithm. It cannot be whimsical, it cannot be knee-jerk, and it cannot be because of the thing that I may or may not have personal likes and dislikes. Therefore, it's a committee that decides what is the level of security that has to be provided. All the inputs from all the channels are incorporated, assessed, and a detailed speaking order is given. And that is the basis of either giving a security, scaling it up, or scaling it down. I hope I'm clear, because it has to be reviewed. One can go to a court, one can summon the reasons why a threat, because of what threat perception a security has been scaled down. Therefore, I think the committee that gives the security or scales it down or scales it upwards will have to be very methodical, precise, and an absolutely transparent manner.
Okay, so a transparent process has to be followed as far as scaling up or scaling down the levels of security is what you're suggesting. Sanjay Singh, let me bring you to the picture now then. You know, a lot is being made about scaling down, you know, the security cover that was given to the Gandhis and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Is there any political motive, anything out of the ordinary for you from what has happened?
See, there is a law and SPG Act is there, which clearly says that any Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, his immediate family members will have to be provided with SPG cover. But that cover is only for 1 year. He was giving actual details as to how SPG was formed and what is its mandate. In 1991, the Act was amended post Rajiv Gandhi assassination because Rajiv Gandhi did not have SPG cover because law then did not provide for SPG cover for former Prime Ministers. And in 1999, again the law was amended, which says for 1 year. Now there is obviously a political input. Beyond a certain point, like the Congress is saying that they continue to give security to SPG cover to former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee when he was confined to his home and not going anywhere outside. That again I think is a bizarre, absurd logic when Congress claims that as entitlement because that family is very, very special. The circumstances involving the family is very, very special. If Vajpayee was given security for 10 years, if Manmohan Singh was given security for 10 years, and 6th year of Modi government, if Modi government withdraws that, first 5 years Modi again gave them security. Now coming to the security threat of Gandhi family, I think Amit Shah has same security level which Gandhi family has. Amit Shah, I don't think has any less security threat and security concerns than Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. So, political angle, if you ask about take it as entitlement, this force was created to protect the Prime Minister post Indira Gandhi's assassination. As on date, there is nobody else other than Prime Minister Narendra Modi who has SPG cover. Then why do you need SPG cover? Gandhi family and Congress party for 3 consecutive days, they asked for adjournment motion in both houses of parliament. Today they also created ruckus on the road, their youth Congress members. Earlier also on August 8th, on 8th of this month when SPG cover was withdrawn, Youth Congress again that particular day had gone to Amit Shah's place and obviously there is no impact. Why are you seeking SPG cover? Because SPG has a security protocol which makes that particular person very distinct from persons who are not getting SPG, be it Z+, be it NSG, be it whatever, be it Amit Shah, be it Rajnath Singh or anybody else.
Okay. So is it then a question of status symbol, Mr. Banerjee, that you know with SPG cover so does your status in society go up?
Well, if you look at it in this particular way, it's very much a question of a status symbol because in functional terms or in police professionalism terms, there is hardly a very marginal difference between what the SPG can do in protection and what the Z+ deployment of 55 plus expert and trained, well-trained police personnel can provide. In actual functional terms, in tackling of a threat on the ground, I think both covers would be equally proficient. But the issue is of course of the special protection group because it is specially designed to protect only the Prime Minister. I think their functional capacities can be honed and confined to a specific task, it would be better. So I think that is the rationale or the logic that we should go by and not any political ramifications of status in deciding who should get what sort of cover.
Okay. You know, just to understand things a little better, Mr. Banerjee, and
yes,
because of the position that you've held, who takes the final decision really or the final call on providing or not providing SPG cover?
Well,
what is the process that is followed?
The process actually already been hinted at in some detail by Dr. Vikram Singh, and that is very much the case. It goes right up to the highest level to the Home Minister or the Prime Minister, who will decide depending on whose cover is being looked at. The question is of what sort of inputs come, intelligence inputs, political inputs, other type of inputs. So if a particular person is in a position to take some decisions which create antagonisms for him from mal elements of society, then the security threat to that person becomes higher. So who will assess this? The assessment has to be done professionally by people who are trained to look at these things from the IB, from other security services. So I would think that in the present circumstances, as Mr. Singh also mentioned, the security threat to a person like the present Home Minister would be much higher than a former politician who is not taking effectively decisions concerning security, or which might create hostility of people who are at the fringe elements of society.
So is there an SOP that is followed?
I would think so, certainly.
Okay, all right. So, Dr. Singh, let me come to you now. Mr. Banerjee briefly touched upon the aspect of the various levels of security. What is the biggest difference really between SPG cover, Z plus security and Z category security?
Mr. Pereira, starting from Y category category to Z plus, there is an upgradation. Y is just 2 personnel and right up to 55 personnel in Z plus. All the commandos and all the personnel that are there with the CRPF and the NSG also go on deputation and make what the SPG is today, apart from their own cadres. There is minor difference in their weaponry and also their scale of ammunition, but that is very, very minor. Make no mistake about it, 55 personnel in Z plus category is more than the average police station, much more than the average urban rural police station of India, and that is some manpower that is detailed for the protection of just one person. There is slight difference in the armor, in the bulletproof jacketing of the SPG, but that is very, very minor. Also in the MP5 submachine guns carried by the CRPF commandos in Z plus, and also the other weapons carried by the SPG, but that is hardly anything. What is really important are the commandos, the trained commandos of the NSG when they go and with the protectee. What is even more important is, apart from the numbers, the equipment is almost the same, the training is almost the same, the manpower is almost trained in the same manner, and the same manpower that is part of the Z plus protection cover is also a part of the SPG also. The same personnel who at one point of time may be in the CRPF or the NSG may be a part of the SPG and vice versa. So to say that one is very different from the other is not. What is more important is the fact, the relationship between the protectee and the people protecting them, that like a physician and a patient. If Mr. Rahul Gandhi in his wisdom refused to take the SPG cover on 1,892 times in the last 6 years, well, that is a matter of concern for the SPG also. If you do choose not to take the bulletproof cars, that is also a matter of concern. And apart from the fact you choose to mix around with the people against the advice of the SPG personnel, well, that is also a cause of concern. In the backdrop of all this, I have explained the weaponry, the body armor, the scale of ammunition, that has a very minor difference between the Z plus and the SPG, but it is also for the protectee to protect himself and cooperate with the agency that is there to protect him.
All right. Sanjay Singh, let me take the point that Dr. Singh was making forward with you now. On this issue of breaking ranks, going out, meeting other peoples, even though you have, SPG cover and so on and so forth. So why make such a big deal about it when you, at some level, believe that you don't really need it all the time?
Frank, the security part was beautifully explained by Mr. Singh. Now coming to the question that you are asking. What makes a distinction? SPG, they move with very sophisticated guns. They look very much smarter than CRPF guy commando. CRPF commando dress in kind of military or war fatigue dresses, and then of course you have NSG, those black hat commandos. But what makes the distinction? The kind of aura that SPG carries. The difference is, Sonia Gandhi, on day one of this parliament, she is member of parliament since 1999. On day one opening of this session of parliament, she entered from gate number 1. That was kind of that alarmed congressman. And then Sonia Gandhi was moving inside the premises of parliament in those magnificent corridors without any armed guard. Because SPG has mandate inside parliament, other forces don't have that kind of mandate. Again, congressmen were very, very worried. सोनिया जी ऐसे घूम रही हैं, कोई सुरक्षा नहीं है. Anybody, nobody can enter inside premises of parliament without proper authorization, without proper security verification. Post 2001 parliament attack, these things have been properly laid out. Now again, now too much of hue and cry is being made. The car that Sonia Gandhi is now using, that Tata Safari instead of those Range Rovers and whatever Fortuners, that makes a difference. That is difference in terms of optics, not in terms of your security concerns. And therefore, I think when I say that, you take that as an entitlement, that Gandhi family is equal only to Prime Minister, whether they are in power or not in power. At one point in time, you say that the government is also using SPG for snooping around there, wherever they go and whatever they do. Then when this government ordered that SPG will have also mandate when a protectee goes abroad, the SPG necessarily has to go with him. And then there was again too much of hue and cry as to if Rahul Gandhi this is meant only for Rahul Gandhi to kind of spy around Rahul Gandhi as to where he goes. Now when that particular cover is removed, the Congress, I think, has gone berserk. In fact, they are not getting any support from either from people or also from fellow parliamentarians and the parties which have been their friendly parties, and the chairperson Sonia Gandhi is UPA chairperson. I did not see any ally of UPA coming in support of Congress party, either inside parliament or outside of parliament on SPG cover issue.
Okay, all right, taking the discussion forward now. Mr. Banerjee, does the SPG have the wherewithal to protect or safeguard multiple VIPs?
No, it has been an evolving capacity. In the beginning, they may not have had, but as they were empowered and more posts were created, more advanced, sophisticated weapons came, probably they would have acquired some capacities. But that is the reason why I keep saying that they should come back to their original function of protecting a single protectee, and this is a specialized function, and they should be confined to that particular function. And moving to a larger issue, I would think that this is really a non-issue, making an agitation out of this. As long as they are protected, reasonably well protected, in a mature democracy, we should not really worry about the status symbol or the aura of a particular,
or the
optics of a particularly well-regarded professional group. But we should move to large issues, as Dr. Singh was also mentioning, that even Z plus protective cover is larger than that of a rural police station. Our problems are more in the social sphere in rural areas, and the common masses are in the need of better policing in the far-flung areas. So there is shortage of personnel, because a lot of personnel who are originally recruited as policemen are diverted to VIP protection, and we should actually lessen the emphasis on VIP protection gradually and move towards a more mature political system.
I want to get into a little bit of the functionality of the SPG. So what level of coordination does the SPG have with other agencies, and how does it really work?
Well, I can only mention from the perspective of my own professional background of an intelligence functionary. We had very close cooperation, and whenever there were any inputs, there is a mechanism to pass on the input at the fastest possible way. Of course, keeping the other nodal agencies like the Home Ministry or the Prime Minister's office also in the loop. But there is a very close coordination, and this is again a very functionally important and developing sort of a phenomenon.
So when you say close coordination, is it a daily kind of a?
Yes, it could be. If the threat so requires, it could be daily, it could be hourly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So all right. Let me not try and dig a little more deeper into that. But yeah, Dr. Singh, talking about functionality, so what is the constitution, the role really, the makeup of the SPG, and what does it take to get into the SPG?
Very, very strong in the sense that they are at par with the best in the world. When the SPG was created, the model picked up was those secret servicemen that those were with the President of the USA. And the training programs also were devised and picked up straight from the FBI Academy, and also the best practices the world over. The weapons, the armors, the ammunition and the interpersonal communication was of the highest order, and we got the state-of-the-art equipment from right across the globe. The training and also the link up, as you very rightly mentioned, that when the liaison can start not only from the daily basis, it can go up to real time even. And there is specific instructions to the SPG that their SOPs are very different from that of any average force. They have a system known as ASL, Advanced Security Liaison, that when the protectee is moving out, an advanced security liaison is done with the host police force and the district magistrate as to what are the threat perception. Depending upon that, the security is beefed up or kept at a level which is optimum. On the basis of the advanced security liaison, the security program is made out. Then there are multiple layers of security which the SPG provides, and they are trained that the inner cordon is almost invincible and infallible, and in case of an attack, the inner cordon just manages to go out of the scene with the protectee, and the outer cordon takes out and gives protection fire. They have the SOPs so perfectly honed to perfection that they have picked up what is the best practice, and from as many hundreds and thousands of assassination attempts, so that they've perfected their art after repeated and constant rehearsals and upgradation of their own skills. Their training, their weaponry is at par with the best in the world. And they also, when they team up to protect visiting dignitaries, it is said, I'm not be privy to, but it is said that even the best coming to India say that they have a chapter or two to pick up from the SPG. So that is what the SPG has come up after 1985 when they were created, when they were totally on deputation. It's a small force of just about 300 personnel. They have their base in the PM's house, and that is one strong reason that they should focus only on the PM and the PMO and not dilute their numbers and their caliber and the talent with other protectees.
Okay, all right, Sanjay Singh. Taking the discussion forward now, as you touched upon it in your previous statement that you are making, and talking about threat perception, has the threat perception over the years come down?
Obviously, initially, see, when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, Indira Gandhi was assassinated, the force was created precisely because of that. And in immediate aftermath, there was a law that provided 10 years of SPG cover to the Gandhi family. Subsequently, yearly review, I don't know what kind of yearly review since then went, and today we have come to this kind of situation. Again, today, as Mr. Banerjee was pointing out, for a politician, he did not take name, I would say Rahul Gandhi. He is taken as a failed politician, even by his own party leaders, and more so the workers on the ground, because I have covered extensively on elections, even otherwise. And then you have Priyanka Gandhi, who has just joined politics, and her husband also gets cover when he used to travel with his spouse, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. And then you have on the ground, you could see SPG वाले आए हैं, यहाँ तक जाने देंगे, वो नहीं जाने देंगे, ये आई कार्ड चाहिए, उस तरह का वेरिफिकेशन चाहिए, SPG यहाँ से. That was also convenient alibi. If somebody would say Frank wants to go there, supposing Frank is a Congress leader on the ground in that particular area, SPG clearance नहीं है. If I as a journalist want to go there, वहाँ SPG है, वहाँ वो नहीं है. That kind of aura used to come with SPG, the kind of the advanced liaising, I am not picking up exact term which Mr. Singh was referring. That gives a certain privilege. The security protocol associated with that used to give certain kind of privilege and certain kind of optics and aura for SPG protectee. Those only 3 persons beyond Prime Minister. Prime Minister, of course, there is justification for the kind of security he is provided. He, after all, is head of executive, head of the country. But at times you would also feel a bit of irritation as to why so much of taxpayers' money is spent on this part. We used to talk at length about VIP security. Lalu Yadav and Rabri Yadav, both getting NSG security, I don't know for what. And there are too many politicians. If you go to Home Ministry today on desk of Amit Shah, security, for providing security, I don't know how many applications should be there. Mr. Singh was DGP UP Police. I don't know how many politicians and how many other persons must have asked him for favors. I don't know whether he yielded to that. Sorry, Mr. Singh, but unke paas ऐसे फेवर गए ही हजारों संख्या में गए होंगे. Then you have a whole lot of people. This gives a feeling of entitlement, a privilege, and also protocol as to wherever you go, you have this kind of security. And therefore, you have seen we did not talk as much about security concern or SPG cover for Gandhi family as we talked about security cover, unnecessary, unwarranted security cover for so many people.
Sure.
Now, security cover of so many people have been downgraded. Why talk only about Gandhi family?
Okay.
Gandhi family has a very good security cover at the moment. Z plus, I think, as I mentioned, same security cover which Amit Shah and other persons have.
Right. Okay, all right. Dr. Singh, close the show for us with a quick closing remark.
Mr. Pereira, I would say that words of great wisdom from the learned panelists, but this is a fact and a fact of life that any budding politician, existing politician or an ex-politician, the fetish and the fixation is how to have maximum security, not only as a status symbol but also as a means to show that that person has arrived. And these frivolous allotment of security are a heavy drain on the resources of a poor state. It is at the cost of public security. It is at the cost of public welfare. Security has to be realistic. Our current Prime Minister, his immediate family does not get protection at all. That should be indication of the fact that it's on the need basis and on the basis of actual requirements, not on whimsical and a flight of fancier imagination.
Okay.
Security is a matter of urgent need, and any person who needs it is the job of the state to give it, not to fulfill somebody's unrealistic ambitions.
Okay, all right. On that note, then we'll call it a wrap on this edition of The Big Picture. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. What's coming out of this discussion is that